Hello everyone, it's been a little while but we are back with another Planet Zoo video and we have some very exciting news. I'm a little bit later than a lot of other people but we will still get there in the end. We have got news of update 1.6 as well as the new Africa DLC. So very exciting stuff. A lot of things that people have been looking forward to getting or really hoping that we would get in the game coming in both of these. So let's have a look quickly at what we shall be getting, and then we'll just go through some of the screenshots that we have been given so far. So with the Africa pack we will be getting 5 new animals as a standard DLC pack, not an animal based one. We've got the Meerkat, the White Rhino, the Fennec Fox, the African Penguin, and as a exhibit animal the Scarab Beetle. So a fairly varied, I would say, mixture of animals there. Some definite fan favourites in there with the meerkats, the rhinos, a lot of people wanting the penguins as well, so and a little bonus in the Fennec Fox and the beetle. We will be getting a couple of new enrichment things. The ones that we know of are a tennis ball and a curio ball, which I don't really know what that is, but apparently the penguins will be able to use that. And then a couple of things in terms of behaviours and animations for animals. So the big one that there was a lot of debate about whether would be included is the digging for meerkats. So we're still not 100% sure what form that's going to take, whether they'll just be little holes that appear and the animals will disappear into them and pop out in various other holes in the enclosure, or how exactly it's going to work, but they will be digging, and we have seen pictures of them popping out of holes. And then apparently the rhinos will have a specific sprinkler animation, which will be nice to see. We will be getting scenery, as I said, not an animal pack, a standard DLC pack, so over 180 scenery pieces. So we will be getting some foliage as well. So we've seen a couple of little bits, but not a huge amount of what foliage we might get. But we'll go through them in a couple of the screenshots. And then in terms of the actual scenery, we've got a lot of statues in some varying styles. A lot of colourful pieces, I assume they're like flexicolour stuff, and very decorative looking pieces. We've got the Moorish, as they say, or North African theme, which is a lot of kind of stone and different multicoloured pieces, a lot of colourful bits and bobs, and yeah, a lot of sort of stone and mud based building pieces by the looks of it, as well as the coloured stuff. And then some more Egyptian themed pieces, so some of the scenery and the statues and things look a bit more of that kind of Egyptian style, ancient Egyptian style. We will get some paths as well, and it has been mentioned, another fan favourite, highly requested thing. We don't know exactly what they'll look like, but we will be getting mesh fences or mesh panels in some form, so that'll be very exciting. Hopefully nice and plain and simple so that we can use them for whatever we want. So that is a brief overview of the pack itself, and then we have got quite a lot of stuff for update 1.6 as well. So updates for the bears, the polar bear, grizzly bear, Formosan black bear and sun bear will all get deep swimming, which is something that people have wanted a lot, especially for the polar bear. The polar bear will be getting some updates in terms of its requirements to make them easier to look after and things like that. We will be able to do custom audio after this update, so we've already got the billboards and things. We will now be able to do custom audio. Vista points is something that a lot of Planet Coaster players who had moved over to Planet Zoo requested, so that is where we can kind of send our visitors to certain areas that we would like them to go to. So direct them to certain areas, make them look at certain things within our zoos, go to specific viewpoints for enclosures, that sort of thing. We will have a Central American time scenario. We will get habitat cameras, and they will come with various different effects, so we'll be able to sort of place them in enclosures and have a kind of night vision looking camera and play that on a screen for the guests. So that's another cool little feature. Changes to the trade system, so increased storage in the trade center, as well as search functions on all of the animal trading based screens, which will be very useful, so you don't have to scroll all the time. Updated staff management functions, won't go into too much of that, but just making it easier. You can multi-select things and do things all in one go instead of one at a time. And then quite a lot more sandbox settings, so various different things, but some that stood out to me: enabling escapes. This is an interesting one, so we don't know if that is that animals will still go out of their enclosure but it won't flash up as a warning, or whether it just means that animals will basically, whatever their enclosure looks like in terms of barriers, they will just never go past them. So you could have a null barrier and the animals will not escape even though there's nothing blocking them. So hopefully the latter, because that will be quite useful, but we shall see. And then various different things with animal needs, things like terrain requirements, you'll be able to turn them off specifically. All those various different things, plant coverage, all of those will have their own individual tabs that you can say whether you want to turn them off. So you might want to ignore the plant coverage stuff, but you still want terrain requirements, so you can turn them off separately. So that will be pretty cool. So I've been playing the screenshots that we've seen, but we'll just have a look properly and I'll just talk about a couple of bits and bobs within those screenshots in relation to what we've talked about so far. Okay, so the first one we have here is the kind of banner, the main header for the pack. So as always, we have our little feature animal in the front, in the foreground, and then a nice view of various other bits in the background. So we have got the meerkats. They're obviously the flagship species for the pack, standing in the front there, so we can see them doing their classic behaviour, standing up, sentry duty, and we can see one poking its head out of a burrow there. We've got also the white rhinos in the picture, so we will get a better look at them and the meerkats in a couple of other screenshots, but they look really cool. We've got a nice overview of some of the architecture and a few of the items. You can see that architecture, kind of almost castle type architecture, the stone and the kind of buttress type things and towers and all that sort of thing. We've got obviously new paths and things like that in there. Statues, you can see the little Fennec Fox statue on the right and some meerkat little, I think they're supposed to be kind of hieroglyphic type pieces underneath it. So yeah, just a general kind of overview there. If we have a look at today's screenshot, so as always they've been doing a poll on Twitter for the species that you want to see first, and the meerkats won. So we have this screenshot released today. We have got an adult meerkat and then a couple of baby meerkats, which look very cute, all standing up, all looking lovely. I think they've done a good job on them, and like I say, it'll be interesting to see how they move and how they use the burrowing and digging and stuff like that. So it's exciting to be able to see what they've done with that. The other thing that stands out in this picture is the grass. So if you look just behind the meerkats, not in the water but on the land there, that is a new type of grass, which looks very, very good. Nice and kind of dense, nice and green, like quite lush grass that you should hopefully, depending what sort of sizes it's in, be able to use instead of some of the actual terrain grass, just to bulk things out a bit, make things look a bit nicer. So very exciting. I don't know if they're going to keep the order of the Twitter poll. I think normally they don't follow it after the first one, but I think the second one was the Fennec Fox from what I can remember looking earlier. So potentially Fennec Fox tomorrow. If not, they'll just choose at random basically. The next picture that we have from the Africa pack is this one. So another view of the meerkats. Meerkat in the front. Seem to be showing them standing up a lot, but that's a classic meerkat thing, obviously. We can see a few just down in the actual enclosure there, so this is nice just to get a sort of scale view basically, so you can see them next to the people. They're obviously tiny. I know we weren't certain whether we would get meerkats if they deemed them to be too small and not worthwhile almost doing them, because they were too small, but obviously they've decided that they do want to give them to us, so we are gonna have a lot of fun with these guys, I think. You can see a couple of burrows there, so yeah, it just remains to be seen whether they'll be connected and they'll pop in and out of various different ones. A little bit more of the architecture in the background there, that kind of castle type architecture. Next we have this one, so this demonstrates a lot more of that kind of Egyptian style. We've got the big statues, kind of stylized in that kind of ancient Egyptian style. We've also got these hieroglyphic type pieces around the edges there. There's a Fennec Fox one, a beetle, we've got the meerkat, that looks like all of them. So yeah, another interesting type of architecture we can use there. Very, very themed, but still a very popular style. Next we've got the Fennec Fox. So this is a very cute little one. Looks really good. There's not much to say about it. You can see the tennis ball enrichment there as well in the background, or in the middle. Yeah, a nice cute little thing. This will be the smallest canid that we have, I think. So it's nice to have an actual small one properly in the game. Then we have this one, so this is another nice overview shot, so you can see a bit more of the architecture. Everything looks like it's nice and flexicolour. If they're new pieces, some of them might be original pieces that we already had, concrete and stuff like that, but you can see a lot of the decorative pieces, so the trimmings on the tops of roofs and windows and decorations are in there. We can see the rhinos again. Those bits with the fencing on the right hand side there, these kind of stone pillar type things with the wooden posts going between them, look really cool. Look like they'll be quite useful, I would say. And yeah, I think that's it for that picture. Then the last one that we have from the Africa pack itself, that I could find, there might be more, but Planet Zoo post different things in different places, so I think this is the last one. A nice view of the White Rhino. So these guys look really cool. I do work with these guys, so I appreciate that they look really good. Yeah, you can see the differences there between the actual Indian rhino and the White Rhino quite nicely. Nice horn on it, or horns, but the big one is nice. Yeah, looking really good. You can see again the grass in the foreground there on the right hand side, the new grass, and then we think what is a new tree on the left hand side, that kind of spiky one. I'm sure someone posted a thing about what it was, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, that is all the Africa pack screenshots that we have. If we just have a look at some of the update pictures that we were given, so we've got this one of the grizzly bear deep swimming, which is nice to see. We obviously haven't seen the polar bear yet, but it will, I'm sure, be similar animations for all of the bears, I would assume, but we'll see. We have this one, so this is showing off the new camera with one of the effects, so this kind of night vision camera with these wolves, so that's a cool little feature that we have here to sort of look into dens from public areas, that sort of thing. And then the last one we have is this shot of a vista point. So we've got various people here looking at the elephants. We have this pole with a picture on it, so I don't know if that's something that you'll be able to kind of toggle on and off, whether that's visible or if it's going to be similar to the what's the word, the talks, the animal talks, where you have this sort of post thing constantly there, so that will kind of ruin it a little bit, but I'm sure we'll find some creative ways of covering them up if we need to do so. So yeah, that is it for all the screenshots that I found. I'm sure there's more. There is obviously the trailer, but I decided this time I wouldn't go through and take screenshots of every scene of the trailer. It's very much more of the same, to be honest. Just showing a bit more of the architecture, a lot of decorations and things like that. We have not yet seen the African penguin or the beetle. They're the two that we haven't seen yet. We have seen the other three in some form or another, but pretty much completely close up and as a normal screenshot would be for them. Yeah, I'm sure there's various other bits and bobs. They've sort of said on the forums that we've got some surprises and we like to keep some stuff secret and that sort of thing, so hopefully there'll be various other bits that we'll really enjoy and be really useful. So the thing that I always do when we get a new DLC is to just briefly say about in terms of my zoos and what I'm doing. So for Whipsnade recreation, which I know I haven't done in ages, well I haven't done anything in ages, I've been busy doing other things, but I do want to get back into it. Whipsnade, I'm still just not gone back to the sea lions and finished that yet, but we have got the meerkats and the rhinos to put into their enclosures that I have already built. The rhino paddock needs a bit of work still, but the house is done, and if you want to see my speed build of it, then I'll pop a little link in the video up here, and yeah, the meerkats will be able to pop in as well. And then of course just general foliage and building pieces as always. Anything new we might be able to revisit some of the old stuff that we've done, or we'll incorporate into some new stuff. And then Crimson Valley we had already planned for Fennec Fox and the meerkats. Fennec Fox we haven't done yet, but meerkats I have done already, so I'll have to try and make that work for actual meerkats in game. And then I recently went to Africa Alive Zoo, which inspired me for a large kind of African mixed species thing with rhinos. We can use probably giraffes, ostrich maybe, some sort of antelope as well. So that's probably what we'll do to try and get the rhinos in there. We will also see, in terms of maybe mods and bits and bobs, meerkat's a good one because it will open up a different kind of shape and size of rig and that sort of thing. The others probably not quite as much. Maybe the African penguin being a smaller penguin will be useful for some stuff. But yeah, that's my plans for my stuff. I will get a Planet Zookeeper episode out as well. As I keep saying, I'm really almost finished on actually doing the building stuff and laying everything out and planning it. I just need to actually sit down and finally get to do it. So yeah, that is update 1.6 and the Africa pack. So that will be coming out on the 22nd. So we've got what day is it? Wednesday. So we've just under a week till we can get our hands on that. But very exciting. So I will cover the pack as I always do when it comes out, and just go through all the animals, all the other bits and bobs, any enrichment, the scenery pieces, foliage, all of that stuff that we get in the pack and the update, if there's any new stuff in the update itself. So yeah, hopefully you guys are as excited as I am. You can pop in the comments any thoughts, anything, tell me what you're most excited about. We have got the Discord as well if you want to discuss in depth any of the stuff from the update or the pack, so the link is in the description below. You can check out my Twitter and my Twitch. I do plan to start streaming a bit more again with this new pack coming out, and if you do want to check out any of my building stuff so far, or Whipsnade or Crimson Valley, then you can have a look at those videos on the channel. If you haven't already, then you can subscribe and keep up to date with all my stuff that I've been doing, as well as any new stuff that I do with the new stuff that we get, the new pack, the update. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.